Welcome to your February newsletter. It's me, Commander in Chief, Rachel LaForce. What is she commanding? What is she chiefing? I don't know. It's February. Was January just a month? I am really curious all the things that it changed and transformed and dug deep for you in January. I feel like January for me was like that classic meme of like, what is it, January, day 271, where it just feels like it just keeps going. I personally experienced a lot of loss. I lost my grandfather, I lost my grandmother from different sides. And while both of them lived very long, beautiful lives, that was a lot of loss in 1 month. And, but also January, I feel like was this very kind of mystical place of expansion where I felt like if we were looking for it, there was a lot of magic there. I think a lot of times we identify magic as being this thing that's like Instagram wellness, where it's like magic, you're a magic girl, you're going to find it. And it's just like, to me, the true essence of like magic is it's like, what is something that makes you experience something that feels bigger than yourself? That to me is what magic feels like. And I think I had so many opportunities to experience that feeling and then be able to learn how to yield that energy. That's the beautiful thing about what we practice here, right? What you all are practicing in your life, what you're teaching, what you're experiencing, how you're growing is once we become aware of the way that we want to experience our lives, what we want to invest in, how we want to express our love, our gifts, etc., then we can begin to figure out, okay, how do we yield this thing? Meaning, how can we create more of it? How can we create it through our art or with our families, communities, right? All of these things. So it didn't feel right to talk about February without giving a little bit of love to January. You know what I mean? Because I feel like January is the unsung hero of the calendar, right? I feel like we feel that because it's just like the month where we're like, new year, new me. And then everyone's just like, well, yeah, we don't need any of those, right? And so we're not always super dialed in. I think in January, it's the month that many of us play catch up. And so we had that very grounding month. I think that the Tower card or something of the equivalent, Dark Night of the Soul, those type of cards were what I pulled for the January newsletter, which like they're always applicable. Okay. And so I always tell people I'm not a fortune teller. I do not tell your futures. This is not, although some people say it's like mystical energy or whatever, it's not really the language that I utilize. I think it's more of patterns, collective energy, reading what's going on and being able to find a way to articulate it. And so I'm not surprised that any of those messages and offerings about January came true. Still not a fortune teller. Okay. Stay with me. So we now end up in the shortest month of the year, February. And February for me, obviously, we're all like, it's a love month. It's a love month, Valentine's Day. There are so many beautiful things. It's Black History Month. There's just so many beautiful things. I feel like February is a very rich month. It's rich with history. It's rich with holiday is celebration, and it's short. So I think there's really this opportunity to kind of like catch on and wrangle the things that we want to continue to bring into the year. That what are the things from January that now we're like, I want to harness this, I want to take it forward. This is your short time. February is going to be swift and it's going to be fast. So if you're not grounded right now, if you're not feeling buckled in, figure it out. Okay. In a not so simple sense, figure out what is it that you need for you, because otherwise it's just going to be, you're just going to get trampled. And I don't say that as like, sometimes that's just where we're at. Sometimes we have to get trampled, right? To like figure out like, okay, that was way too much. So it's nothing that you need to be like fearful of or anticipatory or anything like that. It's just, let's take note of, it's going to be swift, it's going to be fast, it's coming in hot, and you get to decide, do you want to participate in that flow and in that energy? That does not mean rushed. That does not mean like kooky. That does not mean like, I'm just saying that it's like, it's going to be swift. It's going to move quickly. And so Taylor Swift. So find that energy flow for yourself, and how can you kind of like jump into that rhythm. It's always like double dutch, right? It's always that where it's like, when you can do it, it's like, it's beautiful to watch, it's so fun to participate in, because when you can find that rhythm, it's so in sync that it's mesmerizing. And so that's really what February is calling us to do, where it's like, what you thought was going to get done or how you thought it was going to get done, leave that to the side and jump in and find that rhythm within double dutch. And I love the idea that it's like, we're not landing anywhere, right? It's this like double dutches back and forth, back and forth. And that's a lot of what this month is teaching us, which is there's a lot of things that individually all of our lives we've been building, we've been working towards. And maybe we're at this place where it's like, wow, this seems like a lot. And it's like, don't think about it. Like, don't focus on the things that, because when we focus on each individual thing and being like, oh, well, this is hard. Well, then guess what? You've got 29 days of shit that's going to feel hard. When in reality, it's like you have 29 days of complete opportunity to accomplish, touch down on, experience, become immersed in the things that you want and the things that you're building. So mindset is huge for us this month. This is an opportunity to shift your mindset. Even if you're not fully there yet, right? When we talk about these things, I hesitate when I talk about things like mindset or integration, embodiment, right? All these like wellness $10 words, because they're almost something that has to be felt to understand. So if you feel like you're not quite there yet, I just implore you, please, 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 like, don't give up. These things have to become, so that's why mantras, like, sorry, they really work, because you tell yourself that enough, you're changing the neurons, the pathways in your brain to respond differently. Because the first time, it's boring, but basically, like, for all of the reasons right now, I've had to like shift how I'm moving my body and when. So I'm only getting like a really like a HIIT workout in on Saturdays. It's this hour-long HIIT workout. It requires all of me. And it was so cool to be in there last week. And it was like, I'm just so tired of, doing double dutch, all these things, right? As we are. And I heard my inner voice was like, girl, you got it. You got it. Keep going. You got it. And I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. Like, I wanted to stop the class and be like, I'm sorry. For the first time in my life, the voice that didn't come up was like, hey, you big dumb idiot. Why don't you just quit? Right. And so I just share that as a point of connection of like, it really does. It works if you work it. Oh, gross. So I think that covers it, but I really just want to implore you of like, if you feel that you're not there yet, these mindset, these embodiment, all these things that you're working towards, if it hasn't totally clicked yet, that's normal. That's normal. Like I have been on this journey for 6 years, and I was in a healing circle recently. Shout out to Chef David Stample. Check him out on Instagram. And he did a Reiki healing session. If you're not familiar with Reiki, look it up. It's great. It's universal energy. Really, it's the idea of putting your body into such relaxation that your body can do what it needs to, which is to expel whatever it's been holding on to and be able to integrate kind of new, fresh energy, right? So it's really giving yourself a time to slow down. And I was able to release all this stuff. And I feel like what I received was myself. And I was like, wow, this shit works. Like, it was the first time, seriously, straight up, where I was like, damn, we're like really getting somewhere. So I know this newsletter may seem a little bit more personal of me sharing anecdotes, but I also think that that's still important. I want you guys to know that I'm always doing this work alongside you, and that integration does take time. That doesn't mean that I haven't integrated other smaller things along the way. It's not like you've got 6 years or, like, time is irrelevant, but just letting you know that if you're feeling that this is too hard, it's bumping up against this wall, I can't do double dutch this whole month, it's too hard, it's overwhelming. Like, I see you, I hear you. And I also let you know, like, it does get easier where you begin to integrate and do different things. So hopefully, like, for me personally this month, I'm looking forward to learning how to double dutch, to be like, oh, how well can I do this now? Can I do it better, more efficiently than I have before? So this is an opportunity, like I said, this month. It's short, it's fast, it's swift. Get into it and let's see what happens. I want to pull a card for us real quick. And I'm not even really knowing what Maybe we'll pull 2 cards. You guys know that this has been my new favorite deck, the Magical Spirit. In fact, one of you messaged me on TikTok and you were like, I just bought that deck too. It's my favorite. So I was glad that other folks out there in the wild are using this deck. Again, if you're somebody where Oracle cards, if you have a traditional Christian background, that's still how you identify. I know a lot of people take issue with Oracle. There's a lot of things in the Bible about the Oracle, and we've integrated this thing of being, bad or devilish or evil. If that's the camp that you sit in, I'm not here to change your opinion or your belief. My belief on it is Christ is consciousness, and that he is and still is this beautiful, amazing healer, and a lot of the energy and the way that we can move through this healing energy is available to all of us. That's what prayer is. So I think a lot of times when people have what I would refer to as nasty things to say about some of my work, because it's coming from what they want to believe is right and righteous, and again, no judgment, no foul, you know what I mean? But just sharing that, for me, Oracle cards, tarot, anything like that, even astrology, any of these other things that are woo-woo or other, I find them as just another way to interpret all of this healing energy and information that's available to us. And so it's not like I think one is better than the other. I think they're all just tools of how we can access the really beautiful healing energy that's available to all of us. So just as a side note, you know what I mean? For the haters. Okay. So as always, if you have seen this, I just want to close my eyes really quickly. If you're a person of prayer, of meditation, you can close your eyes as well. We're just asking to be fully protected and guided, that we're all here on a journey of wanting to be our highest expression of self, to be able to help and heal others through our work, through our love through our community and families. And we are focusing this month on how to do that through love. Let's see what comes up. Ooh, I like this. If you're like, how do you pull cards? Everybody does it differently. I kind of shuffle them up, and when I get that nudge, I'm like, this is it. So that's how I typically pull. Two cards I got here. One, Flower Child, momentum, creativity, and action. That's the first card that I pulled. The second card that I pulled is blessings and curses. Do not be ashamed of your thorns, for they are your flowers. I think it's interesting that the blessing and curse, it's about psyche, self-love, and beauty. It also has a lot of roses on it. It's a very red card, obviously, big red lips, big red hair, these beautiful roses. So again, this idea of like love, all of that's incorporated in February as we would know it. I would hold these up. I'm a little far away, so you can't really see them. They're just these very beautiful cards. I'll even give you this one. There we go. Hold it up. Okay. So Flower Child, I love that this was the first one. On this card, it says, I hope that you love everyone else. No. Oh, I hope that over everyone else, you learn to make yourself proud. Yeah, I love that so much. And so her body is like sitting in the mud, and then through it, there's all this like beautiful flowers and bees, and it's momentum, creativity, and action, which is what I really love, right? I talked about that. This is going to be a very fast, quick month. And so we're moving towards, we're integrating, things are speeding up because this is kind of the big jump that's going to take us from the dead of winter into the very, very early beginning of spring. Actually, the day that I'm making this is Groundhog Day, February 2nd, right? So in the grand tradition, we'll take the groundhog out, see if they see their shadow, if we're going to have 6 more weeks of winter, or if spring is coming. So I really love this identification of that, because it feels very much where we are. And so it's really asking you to like rise up, all these things that you've been feeling and moving through. It's like, it's time to make yourself proud, period. It does not matter if other people want to come along. In fact, if most people don't want to come along, that's probably one of the best indicators that you're where you're supposed to be going. And I know that it sounds trite, and I get it. I'm here for it. But it is that idea of like, sometimes when you're just ahead, you just are, meaning it's going to take people time to catch up with you, right? We have these integrations, these societal things that say, don't look at ourselves, don't do this, don't do that, do what everybody else is doing. And think about how hard it is for you right now to change and to evolve. Now imagine people who haven't hit that place of self-awareness for whatever reason. So let's remember to give them grace, to give them love, right? We're all mirrors to each other. So if they're not ready to see what it is that's shining in you, that's not about you, right? So give yourself a break. Find that momentum this month. Find that creativity. Find that action. And the only way that you're going to find it is rooting in yourself, right? So we're going to start to do that. That's the first card. And then as we close out here, this second one, I love that it says psyche, self-love, and beauty, right? Did I not just say that where when I was working out and for the first time, I heard myself encouraging myself? I mean, honestly, that was about the thing that just like did me in the workout, right? If I was going to pass out from anything, it was simply from being so stoked that finally I was like on my own side. At 37 years old, it took that long where like the voice that I hear is me encouraging me. Of course, there's still negativity. Of course, like I'm always going to be human, but meaning that like when I need that voice, the voice that shows up is a voice of love and the voice that's rooted within myself. So that's what it's really asking us, right? If we're going to talk about love, we're going to talk about it in all these other ways. Like, let's be realistic, right? I mean, and I know everybody they'll sell you their course. They'll tell you a million things about self-love and how they do it. And God bless. I don't think I need to teach you exactly how to do it, right? I think it's simply like acknowledging like, what is your relationship to yourself? What does that mean? And that goes beyond like journaling. There's so many of us where it's like, oh, we journal and we do this and we do that. But it's like, what is underneath all of that? What is it all really for? And if it's not actually rooting back into yourself, if that love is not pouring back into yourself, right? It's all a give and take. That if it's not coming all the way back in to go all the way out, it's like, what is it for? So this is a really great month to root into that momentum, to root in that creativity, and really being mindful of where is that love going and where is that energy circulating. Again, I love that. That circulation also reminds me very much of the cyclical feeling of double Dutch, right? It's in, it's out, it's in, it's out, and it's this rhythm. So this is going to be a fun, fast, swift month. I'm so excited for you guys. I think that there are going to be really beautiful things on the other side of February, and no rest for the weary, y'all, because we're going to be moving right into March. So spring is coming up swift and fast. I feel like summer is going to continue with that energy, but it's not going to be, I think it's going to be a little bit more of what summer is, right? Which is like long days, and a lot of us are on vacation, and it's a little bit, so there's still going to be a lot of action and percolating, but it's going to be a little bit more like we'll be in that rhythm. So this spring is really that opportunity to get into the rhythm and stay in it. Don't get scared. Don't psych yourself out. Stay in it. Stay mean. You got it. All right. Okay. That's it. I've got a lot of stuff coming up. So check, my books are open for one-on-one sessions. You can join me for an energy reading, which I'm dubbing the Misfit Light, helping you release and recover what is meant for you and helping you shine your misfit light. So if you like these, this is a lot of what a session with me feels like. So it's a lot of me closing my eyes, getting information, sharing it with you. Sometimes we do card readings. So it's going to be really personal. And I think they're going to leave you with a lot of, or I know they're going to leave you with a lot of clarity and kind of the stake in the ground. So if you are feeling the call, please show up. I would love and be honored to do that work with you. Especially, I think this is such a great time for us to do that, to build that clarity as we go through spring. So definitely jump on that. And then also my one-on-ones are open for creative consults and audits, as well as my long-term spiritual mentorships. So all of the books open yesterday, because you'll be getting this on February 6th. My books opened on Monday, February 5th. So you can go ahead, rachelleforce.com. The links are here and you can check all that out. And I have some shows coming up and lots of fun stuff. So all those links will be there. And this month, season 4 of the Rachel LaForce Show returns. New look, new tagline, same old goodness. So this is going to be, like I said, this is a fun month. All right, friends, stay in it, stay light. Love you, mean it.